In the prime of his life, when a medical mystery spun his entire world out of control. Take a look at this.
A successful motivational speaker, Ed knew the importance of looking good and feeling confident in the public eye. But his outgoing persona and healthy lifestyle hid a private war that was slowly ravaging his body. But as time goes on, people start to notice odd changes in Eddie's behavior.
I was at family functions, at parties, and I would excuse myself a lot to go to the bathroom. And people were commenting on it, and I thought when it got to the point that people were commenting about it, I need to do something about it.
His doctor prescribes over-the-counter stomach aids and advises him to take it easy. But Edward's symptoms persist. But as time goes on, Eddie begins to develop new symptoms.
Now I'm experiencing some nausea, some diarrhea, but it wasn't a major disruption of my life. It was a slight inconvenience is how I would describe it.
He returns to the doctor.
He said, you could have something called irritable bowel syndrome.
In August 1998, Edward's condition takes a turn for the worse.
It was in the evening, I was home, and suddenly I felt like I had to go to the bathroom. I was expecting another instance of diarrhea, but I experienced something totally new, and this was very shocking to me. And it wasn't a small amount of blood. It was as though someone had slashed a major artery. I called my family doctor after hours, and he said hemorrhoids could cause a lot of bleeding. He said if it would make you feel better, you could go to the emergency room.
The doctors admit Edward to the ER and keep him overnight for observation. While reviewing Edward's blood work, they make a surprising discovery. They diagnose him with a simple case of food poisoning. Thinking they've solved his problem, the doctors send Edward home and tell him he should be feeling better within days. Just months later, in the middle of the night, Edward runs to the bathroom with abdominal pain. But this time, he's horrified by what happens next.
I experienced rectal bleeding. The next thing I remember is waking up on the bathroom floor, and I realized I was completely covered in blood. It was like a scene from a grisly horror movie. I was just terrified.
Well, Eddie's pain and mysterious hemorrhaging episode worsened, and he knew he needed to find some answers. Take a look at this.
Eddie Leigh has suffered abdominal pains, nausea, diarrhea, and rectal bleeding for 2 years. After fainting on his bathroom floor from blood loss, Eddie's doctor suggests a sigmoidoscopy, a test that will examine his lower colon.
I thought I just have a really bad case of hemorrhoids, even though my family members were much more concerned than I actually was.
The Leighs decide to start fresh with a new doctor, but he doesn't realize he will see his new doctor sooner than he thinks.
I woke up and I experienced the most significant abdominal pain in my life. It was just excruciating. My first thought, I'm going to my big speakers convention in a few days. I never missed this convention, and I'm not going to miss it this year. I'm going to call my doctor. He examined my abdomen. I noticed one thing that was different than my other doctor visits is he spent a significant amount of time examining my abdomen. And I thought, wow, this doctor is very thorough, because most of the other doctors, it was very quick.
Dr. Adams thinks Edward may be suffering from Crohn's disease, a disorder that causes inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract. He orders a CBC, or complete blood count.
When I got back from my convention, within about an hour of being home, the phone rang. And it was my doctor's office. And I remember he said to me, are you experiencing any fatigue? He said, the reason I ask is because the blood work reveals that you're very anemic.
Because anemia in a younger male could be a sign of a gastrointestinal tract disorder, Dr. Adams orders a new test for Eddie, called a colonoscopy.
A colonoscopy is the best test to look directly at the entire length of the colon.
I went in for the colonoscopy and I was sedated, and I remember waking up from the procedure, and I remember my doctor standing next to me, and he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but during the procedure we found a mass. And he showed me the picture, and he said, we took a sample for a biopsy, we'll get the results back in a few days, but we are quite certain that you have colon cancer.
We'll find out what happened to Eddie when we come back. We'll be back right after this.
Eddie Leigh has suffered abdominal pains, nausea, diarrhea, and rectal bleeding for 2 years. After fainting on his bathroom floor from blood loss, Eddie's doctor suggests a colonoscopy.
And he showed me the picture, and he said, "We are quite certain that you have colon cancer."
Please welcome Eddie and his wife Beth to the show. How are you? How are you, sir? How are you? Please have a seat. Sit down and talk to us for a second. How did you... First off, it must have absolutely driven you crazy when you got this diagnosis, because did you not say to yourself, I've been seeing doctors for the last 4 years, somebody should have seen this?
The strange part is, while this went on, I never thought there was anything seriously wrong with me, because I'm an optimistic, upbeat kind of guy. So while all these things were happening, I never thought anything was going on, because I exercise, I eat right, I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I thought nothing is seriously wrong with me.
But Beth, you were saying there's something wrong here.
These episodes of bleeding were so severe, something was wrong. Something in my gut was telling me this was not from hemorrhoids.
How invasive was what they ended up having to do from a prognosis standpoint?
By the time I was diagnosed, I was stage 3. The cancer had spread to the lymph nodes.
God.
And the thing is, it wasn't the most advanced stage. The most advanced stage is stage 4, when it spreads to distant sites beyond the colon, such as the liver and the lungs. So actually, I thought it was nothing short of a miracle that I wasn't stage 4 after being misdiagnosed for such a long period of time.
And so what did they end up having to do? They had to go in?
Yeah, what I did is I had surgery to remove the tumor, and they removed a section of the colon also, and I also had 17 lymph nodes removed. 2 tested positive for cancer, and that's why I was put in stage 3. Then subsequent to that, I had a year of chemotherapy, and I have to say, it's been 8.5 years, and I continue to be cancer-free.
And part of the reason I'm so excited to have you on the show. How old are you right now? Can I ask you, how old were you when this started?
When it started, I had just turned 39.
I'm glad that Eddie's here, because I wanted to bring more attention to this today to make people stop and think. What should we recommend? Over the age of 35, over the age of 40? Just see your doctor, just make sure they understand your history. What should we do when it comes to this issue, since it's growing?
Well, it's hard. I mean, there's screening tests you can do for a lot of different things, but with the first step would be to do fecal occult blood testing, which is to give your patient a card. They take it home and they put a little bit of stool on the card and they bring it back. And then you go over the bowel habits, if there's anything that's changed. It's hard. Even a colonoscopy can miss a cancer. I had a lady that I picked it up on a digital rectal exam, and the colonoscope went in just past the tumor, so he didn't see it.
Never got a chance to see it.
So she was lucky.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to share the real reason that I was actually misdiagnosed for 2.5 years is because my doctor did an inappropriate test on me. I initially had, when I started having problems in spring of 97, he did a test on me called the sigmoidoscopy.
Which only looks at one side of your colon.
Right. It's like going to the doctor and having half a mammogram.
That's the descending part of your colon.
Right. So I had the test, and I assumed my entire colon was fine. However, my tumor, the colon is an inverted U-shaped structure, and the sigmoidoscopy sees about this far up on the left side, basically. My tumor was way over on the right. Completely missed my tumor. Had he done a colonoscopy instead of a sigmoidoscopy, I would have been diagnosed 2.5 years sooner. Thank
you so much. Now, what's the prognosis for you? Cancer-free now after 8 years, they pretty much say...
Right, I'm in good shape,
You are cured.
That's what they say.
Now we take a break. We'll be back right after this. No matter where you live in the country, I'm going to tell you right now, fish